Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 21st of May 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs, so watch this video till last. But I am requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. Guys, you can download our application name is Careers Cloud and link of this application is given in the description box. And after downloading, you can log in with your email ID, and after login you have to click on this crack current affairs section if you want to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise. And guys, one thing most important, we are covering 90 to 95% of current affairs which are coming in your exams. That is the genuinity of Affairs Cloud. This is the hard work of Affairs Cloud team. But first of all, what we are providing under this subscription, we are providing daily current affair. In the daily current affair section, you will get three type of the current affairs. One is related to detailed current affair of particular day. Next is the question and answer format of current affair of particular day, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on daily basis. Next is weekly section. Again, you will get three sections for particular week. One is related to detailed current affair of that week. Next is question and answer format of current affairs of that week, and the third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on weekly basis. Next is the monthly section. In the monthly section, to enhance your performance, we are providing four type of PDFs. One is related to detailed current affair of particular day and even particular month. It means all the monthly detailed and you can say theoretical current affair will be provided under this PDF. Next, to revise these type of the current affair, we are also providing question and answer PDF so that you can revise all the current affair in the form of question and answer. Next is best 100 current affair. It means the top 100 current affairs will be provided. That is also provided in the form of question and answer so that you can revise again and again. Last is the pocket PDF. As the name suggests, it is very important to revise the current affair in quick format like 2-liner, 3-liner before your exam. So this is daily, weekly and the monthly section, but we are also providing some smart PDFs to enhance your performance. Like first is the topic wise PDF. It means 20 most important topics which are important for every type of exams are covered by Affairs Cloud, and we are covering best to best topics so that your preparation will be enhanced. And guys, you can revise these topic wise PDF before your exam, and you can revise particular that topic if this topic is weak. And guys, if you are a banking aspirant, then we are also providing three type of the things. One is related to detailed current affair of banking and economy, question and answer format of banking and economy section, and also we are providing quiz section, and you can check that how much banking and awareness current affairs you need to revise more. Next is exam PDF. If you want to just revise all the current affairs of 2021, like past current affair of 2021, then you have to just pick one PDF that is known as exam PDF. Next is special current affair like budget and economic survey. If you want to revise budget and economic survey like factual data and the question and answer format of the budget and economic survey, then this section is for you. It means the examiner can ask the expected question and answer from this PDF. Next, state current affairs. We are covering every state and union territory so that your state performance can also be enhanced. So guys, there is no different subscription. There is only one subscription. You have to just download our application, that is Careers Cloud. From the description box link, you have to log in with your email ID and you have to click on this crack current affair section. After clicking on, you can subscribe for 1 year as well as 2 year. And please check the price. Please check the price. You will definitely surprise. And on that minimal price, we are providing also the 10% discount. If you use this code ASH10, then you will get 10% extra discount. If you have any query, then you can reach us on this email ID. You can call us on this number, or you can comment under any video. I am personally entertaining all the comments. So let's start today's current affair, that is 21st of May 2021. But I am again requesting you all the students that you have to like this video because we want 700 plus likes. You have to subscribe this channel and you have to share this video as maximum as possible. And guys, you can join our Telegram group. The description of Telegram joining group is given in the description box. You can join very easily. So let's start with the most important question section. Here is our first question. What is the rank of India in the 57th renewable energy country attractiveness index? So guys, the most important thing, the index, it is renewable energy country attractiveness index. If there is any index, then you have to remember which country topped under this index. This index is released by which organization, or which you can say if there is a country, then you have to remember this index is released by which country. Maximum indexes are released by organization, and third, the rank of India. So these three things you have to remember. So friends, first of all, this index is released by one very famous company of the United Kingdom, which is known as Ernst and Young. So remember, Ernst and Young Global released this index that is known as Energy Country Attractiveness Index, and this energy is basically renewable energy. And which country topped? The country topped is United States of America. Second rank goes to China, and third rank goes to India. So guys, remember, third rank goes to India. And how many countries are ranked under this index? Total 40 countries are ranked under this index. So these are very important things you have to remember. And the global renewable energy capacity investment increased by 2%, according to, if we are comparing with the 2020, and it is despite the pandemic of 2020, or you can say the COVID-19, and it is the second highest annual growth overall, because this report was started in 2003. And guys, remember, this report is biannual report. It means it happened twice a year, and it ranks the world top 40 countries based on the attractiveness of their renewable energy investment and development opportunities. So India ranked third on this sport, and India scored 66.2 marks, but you don't have to remember the marks of India. 66.2. So guys, you can see here, India climbs to third spot, because in 2020 India was on the fourth spot. So India climbed by the one rank. And Ernst and Young index on impressive show by the solar power volt, or you can say photovoltaic segment. And you can see here, India scored 66.2, and India ranked third out of the 40 countries. This index is released by Ernst and Young Global Limited. United States top under this index, and China's rank is on the second. And India has improved its rank from the fourth, because earlier India's rank was fourth, and it is third due to its exceptional performance in the solar photovoltaic sector. So you have to remember the policies which was made by India regarding the solar photovoltaic sector. It is basically the most cost competitive source power in the Asian region, and the power generation from solar sector is expected to exceed coal before 2040. It means we can generate more power from this solar power voltaic sector. And India's installed solar power voltaic capacity in 2020 is just 39 gigawatt, and it is the, you can say, the maximum energy which was generated through the solar photovoltaic capacity in 2020, despite the COVID-19, you can say, because there is a factor, maximum countries not achieved this target due to COVID-19, because they are handling COVID-19 situations. But in India, despite COVID-19, we achieved this type of the target. So you have to remember this. And Ernst and Young Global Limited is basically United Kingdom based company. And guys, remember, recent related news, India was ranked 87th in the Global Energy Transition Index, which was released by World Economic Forum. Basically, World Economic Forum released a report which is known as Fostering Effective Energy Transition 2021, and this index was topped by which country? This index was topped by Sweden, and second position goes to Norway. But you have to remember the first country, you have to remember which organization released this index, Global Energy Transition Index, and India's rank is 87th. Now we can move to the next question. What is the name of Iran's most powerful supercomputer which was launched recently? So we are talking about Iran's most powerful supercomputer, and name of this supercomputer is Simorgh. And this supercomputer can also be known as Simurgh. Simurgh. Why there are two spellings? Because it is a mythical bird name in Persian mythology and literature. So that's why it is after the mythological bird which is known as Simurgh, or you can say Simorgh. And you can see here, Iran unveils its strongest domestic supercomputer, that is known as Simorgh. So you have to just remember the name, you have to remember the country. It is named after the mythical phoenix-like bird Simorgh, or the Simurgh. The system was designed by the Amir Kabir University of Technology in Iran, and the system currently has a processing power of 0.56 petaflops. And guys, total cost to manufacture this type of the supercomputer by the Amir Kabir University of Technology in Iran was $1 trillion. So this is huge. 1 trillion Iranian, not dollar, Iranian reals. So in India, it is almost 173 crore rupees to just manufacture a supercomputer. And guys, remember, the system will be used for the artificial intelligence by default, traffic and the weather data, and image processing, and the state media units. And the next generation supercomputer, Mariam, you have to remember the name. That's why I highlighted in the red, Mariam. named after Iranian mathematician and scientist Maryam Mirzakhani is being developed in Iran. This is the next generation supercomputer and it will be named as Maryam. It was named after the Iranian mathematician and scientist which was also named as Maryam Mirzakhani. So you have to just remember about Iran. Prime Minister is Mustafa Al-Kadhimi. Capital is Tehran and currency is Iranian Rial. So remember all these things. Now we can move to the next question. You have to just remember the name of the supercomputer in this question. Which city have topped the Prime Global Cities Index Q1 of 2021, a valuation based on the prime residential prices? So according to the residential prices, which city topped under the index which is known as Prime Global Cities Index, and it is just a Q1 of 2021. It means they will release the other 3 quarters according to the time, like Q2, Q3 and Q4. So now in the Q1, the city which is topped belongs to China. So it means 2 options are out. One is Delhi is out and Mumbai is out. So there are 2 cities. One is known as the Shenzhen and second one is the Shanghai. So answer of this question is Shenzhen. First place goes to Shenzhen and second place goes to Shanghai. So even the 3 cities, the first ranked 3 cities belongs to China. And what was the rank of Delhi? So guys, you have to remember the rank of Delhi was 32 under this index, 32, and Mumbai was ranked on the 36. There is one more city because they basically valued the prime residential properties across the 45 cities across the globe. And Delhi rank was 32, Mumbai rank was 36, and Bengaluru rank was you can say 40th rank goes to Bengaluru. So 3 cities, Delhi 32, Mumbai 36 and Bengaluru 40th, and you can remember very easily because there is a difference of 4 between the 3 cities, Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru. So guys, you can see here the Knight Frank, this index is released by Knight Frank, London based international property consultant, released this Prime Global Cities Index Q1 2021, and Chinese cities Shenzhen on the first, Shanghai on the second and Guangzhou on the third have topped the Q1 2020 index, where Shenzhen recorded a growth of 18.9%. It means the total property cost increases by 18.9%. Even Delhi has recorded a decline of 0.2%. Delhi recorded a decline of 0.2%, and Mumbai also recorded a decline of 0.1%. Even Bengaluru also recorded a decline of 2.7% because of this pandemic situation of 2020. And New York was identified as the weakest performing market with a negative 5.8% growth. It means decline of 5.8% growth. So this is huge because New York, the prime city all over world and the costliest city all over world, now residential property prices are decreased by 5.8% due to pandemic of 2020 or you can say the COVID-19 problem. So now we can move to the next question. You have to just remember the rank of Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru. First you have to remember about the Delhi, this is most important, and the city which topped under this index is the Shenzhen. Now we can move to the very important section, guys. We covered all the most important questions, like 3 questions were discussed in the most important section. But before proceeding, you have to just like this video, 700 plus likes we want, subscribe this channel and share this video as maximum as possible. But a good news for all the students that you can join our Telegram channel. The link of the Telegram channel is given in the description box, so you can join very easily, and all the official notifications will be given under this Telegram channel. So guys, let's start very important question section, and here is the first question. Which bank tie up with the Hyperverse for onboarding customer online under COVID-19? In simple word, you can say that this bank will use the services of Hyperverse for onboarding customers online under the COVID-19 situation, because there is no physical verification of the customers possible. So that's why there is a need of video KYC solution, and this video KYC solution will be provided by a company that is known as Hyperverse. And this bank is, guys, State Bank of India. So remember this news very importantly. So you can see here State Bank of India and Hyperverse ramp up technology for online customers onboarding. It means Hyperverse will provide this video KYC solution for onboarding customers online under COVID-19, and video KYC solution will be used by SBI to achieve the improvement over the regular video KYC checks performed per day per agent. And it is to obtain its technology called video KYC solution. This technology is basically belong to a company, Hyperverse, and the video KYC solution is 100% compliant with the Reserve Bank of India regulations and can be supported on the multiple platforms. And guys, remember one thing, Hyperverge video KYC solution is assisted with a high accuracy level of almost 99.5% and will enable SBI to provide convenient digital banking services to the citizen of India. And SBI launched a full power YONO saving account. You have to remember this red keyword, that can be opened instantly with video KYC in 4 simple steps to support the customers under COVID-19. It means by using this, you only need one application of the SBI, or you can say the neobank of the SBI. You can open a saving account through this application, and only video KYC will be there, and this will be provided by this company that is known as Hyperverge. And this video KYC solution is, you can say, very time saving, and even it saves the cost and time in spending agent to physically visit a customer residence, because under a regular eKYC, the manual checks by an agent will take almost 25 minutes, and in turn the video KYC solution could complete the entire follow within 5 minutes. So this is a very time saving process, and the solution performs pre-qualified checks such as the name, address, signature, schedules. All these things will be verified according to this video KYC. So guys, remember this full power YONO saving account is launched by SBI. So by YONO, you can also guess this is basically related to SBI. And new service will offer complete paperless and instant digital saving account opening experience with just PAN and the Aadhaar card. So remember about SBI. SBI was established on the 1st July 1955 according to the SBI Act of 1955. Chairman is Dinesh Kumar Khara. So I think this is very common now. And the headquarters is in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Tagline is the banker to every Indian. The banker to every Indian. And this Hyperverge is a Karnataka-based company or Bengaluru-based company. Now we can move to the next question. What is the name of world's largest and the most powerful space science telescope who successfully completed its pre-launch test? So this is the world's largest and the most powerful space science telescope. This is the keyword for you. And this telescope successfully completed its pre-launch test by opening its iconic primary mirror for the last time it's on the Earth. Because in the final test, the 6.5 meter, remember 6.5 meter mirror was commanded to fully expand and lock itself into the place to ensure that it will survive its million mile, like almost 1.6 million kilometer journey, and is ready to discover the origin of universe. So guys, this telescope is James Webb Space Telescope. So remember, answer of this question is B. So you can see here, NASA's Giant Webb Telescope succeeds in the key pre-launch test, and it was very much successful. And you can see here, the telescope has to be fitted within a 5-meter launch vehicle, so it is designed to be folded in origami style, like you can say the congested flower. And after the test, all of the telescope movable parts will have confirmed in testing, and they can perform their intended operations after being exposed to the expected launch environment. So a proper deployment in space is considered critically important to the process of the fine-tuning Webb's individual mirror into one functional and the massive reflector. The testing of each, you can say the actuator and their expected movements was completed in a final functional test earlier this year. So now all the final tests are cleared, and the 6.5 meter mirror was commanded to fully expand and lock itself into the place to ensure that it will survive its 1.6 million kilometer journey and is ready to discover the origin of the universe. So you have to just remember the name of the telescope, and this belongs to NASA's, and it is a USA space agency. And guys, remember who is currently the administrator of NASA. NASA's administrator is Bill Nelson. Remember Bill Nelson, he is currently the 14th administrator of the NASA, currently appointed by Joe Biden. Now we can move to the next question. Which bank launched digital loan processing system for MSMEs, or the micro, small and medium enterprises, and agriculture borrowers? In simple word, you can say all the loan processing can become digital, and it is for the micro, small and medium enterprises and the agri borrowers only. And this bank is, guys, IDBI. It means answer of this question is D. That is Industrial Development Bank of India Limited. So you can see here, IDBI Bank launched digital loan processing system for MSMEs and the agri borrowers. This question is not important for all the students. This is only for the banking students. And it is to provide a superior technological enabled banking experience to the MSME and the agri customers, because it will provide fully digitized end-to-end loan processing system for its micro, small and medium enterprises and the agri products borrowers. And it has a total of more than 50 product lines and seamless credit life cycle with over 35 interface touch points to many satellite system. And you can say improved turnaround time to enhance the customer experience is also there. And the new loan processing system also seamlessly integrate with the, you can say, the data financial technological companies, bureau validations, document storage and account opening, and the management system is there. And it is a fully digitalized system. We in the last question we covered the SBI, that is also becoming digital. Now this IDBI is also becoming digital in the loan area. And the platform is designed to incorporate knock-off criteria and credit policy parameters for the superior underwriting standards. And guys, remember recently dated news in a report of Viziki, HDFC, ICICI and SBI are the top 3 banks of 2020 in India. After that, Yes Bank, Punjab National Bank, HSBC, Kotak Mahindra Bank are their banks. And because they released the top 10 banks of India list of 2020, and under this list, HDFC topped, ICICI on the second, and third is on the SBI. And remember, this is a Viziki report. And guys, remember IDBI headquarter is in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Managing Director and CEO is Rakesh Sharma. But there is a chairman also, MR Kumar is the chairman of IDBI, and tagline is Bank Aisa Dost Jaisa. Remember, Bank Aisa Dost Jaisa. So you have to remember. Now we can move to the next question. Which bank has launched first of its kind digital solutions called, 2 digital solutions are there. One is SmartServe, second is the IntelliSign, to provide a quick onboarding process of its corporate customers. So both the system, one is the SmartServe and or you can say IntelliSign, will replace the documentation process with a digital platform for the corporate customers only. It is only for the corporate customer. Again, one news is for the digitalization. And this bank is guide Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank Corporation India. It means HSBC India. So you have to mark the keywords. One is the SmartServe, second is IntelliSign. It is also known as HSBC SmartServe and HSBC IntelliSign. So you can see here, HSBC India launched digital banking solution known as HSBC SmartServe and HSBC IntelliSign. And both the application programming interface enabled solutions are intending to replace the documentation process with a digital platform only for the corporate customers. And what is about HSBC SmartServe? It is a digitized account onboarding and life cycle management solution. So you have to remember, with a single interface, it provides clients with a fully automated onboarding solution where they can submit data and documents directly and securely, in addition to receiving confirmation and alerts. And next is HSBC IntelliSign. It is a solution that enables corporate clients to lend documents digitally. And it also offers an e-stamp duty feature and e-signature solution based on the Aadhaar e-verification, and you can say all the legal provisions in India. So this is HSBC IntelliSign and HSBC SmartServe. And guys, remember recent latest news about HSBC. HSBC India has partnered with Google Pay and Visa to provide secure tokenization of its credit cards. So because of this partnership, you can say contactless payments can be done by linking HSBC credit card in Google Pay, and it will help to avoid physical contact for the payment. And tokenization means you don't have to need fulfill all the details of your credit cards, like card number, expiry year. You don't have to write again and again. You have to just fill the token number, which was generated once a time. So guys, remember, this is tokenization, HSBC with Google Pay and the Visa. And you can also remember about HSBC India. HSBC India headquarters is in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and it was established in 1853, and its CEO is Surinder Rosha. But this bank is not important, so you have to just remember about the news, SmartServe and IntelliSign. Now we can move to the next question. Veteran Congress leader and former Chief Minister of which state, Jagannath Pahadia, passed away? So guys, again, there is a obituary. So if there is a obituary, you have to remember 3 things. One is the name of the person, and second thing you have to remember, name of the state from which he belongs to, and third, the field. So field is politician, because by the question you can guess that he was very famous politician, because there is a word veteran Congress leader. And former Chief Minister of which state? So he was former Chief Minister of, guys, Rajasthan. So remember, he was former Chief Minister of Rajasthan from 1980 to 81. he was also the governor of Haryana and Bihar. So you can also remember, examiner can ask about this. He was former governor of Haryana and Bihar, because we covered one question related to one former governor of you can say Gujarat and Bihar. Gujarat and Rajasthan, not Bihar. So the former governor who was passed recently, he was governor of Rajasthan and Gujarat. Former governor of Rajasthan and Gujarat, that was Anshuman Singh. Anshuman Singh. So you have to remember this. But we are now talking about former governor of Bihar and Haryana, and this person was Jagannath Pahadia, and he was also the former chief minister of Rajasthan from 1980 to 81. He was also the first Dalit chief minister of Rajasthan. This is important thing. First Dalit chief minister of Rajasthan. So you can see here, former Rajasthan chief minister Jagannath Pahadia dies, and he was also the former governor of Haryana and Bihar. I am repeating again and again so that you can revise this thing, and you can see the picture here. And he was the first Dalit chief minister of Rajasthan. He served a member of the Lok Sabha for 4 times. It means almost for 20 years. Now we can move to the next question. What is the theme for World Meteorology Day? It is not World Meteorology Day, it is World Meteorology Day. So it is basically related to the instruments or the measurement. So answer of this question is very simple, measurement for health. So don't confuse with the World Meteorology Day. World Meteorology Day is celebrated on 23rd of March. World Meteorological Day was celebrated on 23rd of March. It was celebrated in 2021 also. And the theme was the ocean, our climate and weather, because it is related to the marine security. So the ocean, our climate and the weather. It is the theme of World Meteorological Day. But we are talking about World Meteorology Day. So the theme is measurement for health. So you have to remember, and this day was celebrated on which day? So it is very simple, and you have to remember this day is basically celebrated on 20th of May. So remember, World Meteorology Day is annually observed across the globe on 20th May to celebrate the International System of Unit. And the day marks the annual celebration of the signing of the Meter Convention, which was signed in 1875 on 20th May in Paris, France by the 17 nations. It is known as Meter Convention. So you can also remember this. And guys, this day, the ocean, our climate and weather is basically 23rd of March 2021. And this day is known as World Meteorological Day. So you have to remember the theme of this day. Next is the clock is ticking. So again, this we cover so many times. The clock is ticking is basically theme of World Tuberculosis Day. World Tuberculosis Day, and it was celebrated on 24th of March 2021. Next is valuing water. So again, this is very important day because it is World Water Day. World Water Day, and it was celebrated on 22nd of March. So guys, remember 22nd, 23rd and 24th of March. So we covered all these 3 days, 22nd, 23rd and 24th. So remember all these days. And this is measurement for health, World Meteorology Day. And why this day is celebrated, I already covered. The theme aims to create awareness about the important role of measurement in the health and well-being of everyone. So remember these things. Now we can move to the next question, but you can also see the picture. World Meteorology Day, 20th May 2021. Measurement for health is the theme. Next, Summit on Financing of African Economies 2021 held in which country? So the keyword of this question is, it is just to finance the African economies in 2021, and it is because of COVID-19, because it is just to arrange financial resources for reviving the economy of the African continent, which was very much poor, which has been affected by the COVID-19. And guys, remember this meeting or this summit was hosted by which country? This is hosted by France, and exact place is Paris. So you have to remember this was hosted by France. And you can see here V. Muralidharan, you can say our Minister of State for External Affairs, participates in the summit from the Indian side in the financing of the African economies Paris, 18th May of 2021. And under the Vaccine Maitri initiative, India supplied 24.7 million doses of indigenously COVID-19 vaccine. So you have to remember this red word, that is Vaccine Maitri. This is the initiative of India. And guys, remember under this initiative, India supplied, you can say the COVAX supplies to 42 countries in the continent. This is huge. 42 countries India covered in the African continent, and they supplied this COVID-19 vaccines. And at present, there are around 89 projects across 41 countries in Africa which are being implemented with Indian concessional credit. It means India is providing money for the 89 projects which are undergoing in the 41 countries of Africa. So this is a huge. And at the current rate of economic growth, the African continent may experience its first recession in 25 years in 2021 if the current situation going worse. And during the third India-Africa Forum Summit, which was held in October 2015, India offered almost 600 million USD as grant, not loan, as grant, and loan of $10 billion for the developmental projects only in the Africa. So India helping so much countries, but especially the African continent, and 41 to 42 countries India are basically developing so many projects. So you have to remember. And Ministry of External Affairs, Union Minister is Subramaniam Jaishankar ji, bureaucrat turned politician, and he is currently a member of Rajya Sabha from Gujarat constituency. And Minister of State V. Muralidharan is also a Rajya Sabha member, and his constituency is Maharashtra. Now we can move to next question. How many sites recently added to India's tentative list of UNESCO World Heritage Site? So the most important keyword here is the tentative list of UNESCO World Heritage Site. So what is about this list, and how many sites are basically added under this list from Indian side? Because India basically proposed 9 sites which can be included under the tentative list, but this UNESCO World Heritage Committee basically approved 6 sites which can be added under the tentative list of the UNESCO. So you have to just remember the tentative. It is an inventory, or you can say the registry of properties or the sites which a country intends to consider for you can say the inscription on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it intends to consider for the inscription on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is not registered under the UNESCO World Heritage Site, but it intends to register under the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So total 6 sites are now added. So now the list become so much longer, and total Indian sites which comes under the tentative list are 48. At any time they can be declared as the UNESCO World Heritage Site permanently, and these sites are proposed by one and only organization of India, that is Archaeological Survey of India. So this organization can propose these type of the sites. So 6 sites added to India's tentative list, UNESCO World Heritage Site, and you can see here 9 sites were proposed by Archaeological Survey of India, but UNESCO Heritage Committee listed only 6. And after this addition, 48 proposal of tentative list of India now are pending under the UNESCO Heritage Committee. And guys, you have to remember total worldwide how many UNESCO World Heritage Sites are there. Total sites are 1121. It means 1121 UNESCO World Heritage Sites are there across the world, and China and Italy have the most number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. China and Italy have the most number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites all over world. So guys, you have to remember all these things, and you can also see the 6 sites. One is the Maratha military architecture that is situated in Maharashtra, temples of Kanchipuram situated in Tamil Nadu, Satpura Tiger Reserve, already know you all the students, Madhya Pradesh. Next is Hirebenkal and the megalithic site that is in Karnataka. Next is Beda Ghat, Lamta Ghat in the Narmada Valley that is situated in Madhya Pradesh, and Ganga Ghats, the iconic riverfront of the historic city of Varanasi that is in Uttar Pradesh. So the sites are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh again, and the Uttar Pradesh. So northern site is only the Uttar Pradesh is there. So recent latest news you have to remember, UNESCO has inscribed the 4 cities of Gwalior and Orcha in the Madhya Pradesh on its World Heritage Cities under the Urban Landscape City program. And in 2019, Jaipur was also considered as the World Heritage Site from India. You have to just remember this. And guys, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, which is known as UNESCO, headquartered in Paris, France, and its Director General is Audrey Azoulay. Now we can move to next question. Which state approved the proposal to allocate 50 acres of land to establish the National Institute of Medicinal Plants in state? So guys, the most important keyword under this question is this National Institute of Medicine Plants, and this medicinal plants will be you can say launched in the Sindhudurg district, and the Sindhudurg district is situated in Maharashtra. So 50 acre of land is basically allocated by the Maharashtra state government, or you can say the meeting chaired by the Uddhav Thackeray, the cabinet meeting of the Maharashtra chaired by the Uddhav Thackeray, and they allocated this 50 acre of the land to Sindhudurg district of the Maharashtra, and the National Institute of Medicine Plants will be set up under this district. And the allocated land is basically located and handed over to the Ministry of Ayush, you can say Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, Sowa, Ripka, and the homeopathy. And this National Institute of Medicinal Plants at Maharashtra will act as a one-stop center for all the needs related to the medicinal plants. So guys, you have to remember, this is important news, that it will be set up in Maharashtra. Exact place you have to remember, it is Sindhudurg district, or if you want to go more detail, then you can also remember that exact place is Adali village in the Doda Marg Taluka will be handed over to the Ministry of Ayush. So exact place is Adali village. And this National Institute of Medicinal Plants at Maharashtra will act as one-stop center for all the needs related to the medicinal plants. And the institute is aimed to create employment for the local people and the benefit of state, and this will work in coordination with the state and the center government. So you have to remember this. Now we can also move to the next question, but you can also remember about Maharashtra here. Maharashtra. So there are two very important national park in Maharashtra. Tadoba National Park. Second is Sanjay Gandhi National Park. Sanjay Gandhi, not only Sanjay. So remember Sanjay Gandhi National Park. And guys, you can also remember the Chief Minister is Uddhav Thackeray and the Governor is Bhagat Singh Kishori. Bhagat Singh Kishori. So you have to remember this. Now we can move to the next question, and all the very important questions are covered. Now we are moving to the important sections. You have to provide us 700 plus likes. You have to subscribe this channel. You have to share this video as maximum as possible. And guys, you can join our Telegram channel. Link is given in the description box so that you can join very easily. All the official notifications will be delivered under this Telegram group. So here is the first question in the important section. India became the largest insurance technological market in Asia Pacific region according to Standard & Poor Global Report. So we are talking about insurance technological market, and guys, the country topped under this report was China, and India is on the second position. So India became the second largest insurance technological market in the Asia Pacific region according to Standard & Poor Global Report. So according to this report, if you say insurance technology investors are attracted to India as it is one of the fastest growing insurance market globally. And the report noted big technology companies like Tencent Holdings, Ant Group, Amazon.com, Grab Holdings to influence the insurance technological ecosystem in the you can say Indian region. And this S&P, you have to remember, it is a United States based you can say the rating agency. Now we can move to the next question, but you can remember India's second largest insurance tech market according to the this S&P Global. Now we can move to the next point, and which company launched the first prototype of mechanical minefield marking equipment that is known as MK2 for Indian Army. And this company is, guys, BEML, or you can say Bharat Earth Movers Limited. You can see here BEML unveils mechanical minefield marking equipment. It is basically to mark the minefield for the Indian Army. And you can see here it will help in the marking the minefields at the fast rate semi-automatically with minimal human intervention. And post successful completion of the trials, Bharat Earth Movers Limited is expected to receive orders of more than 55 systems from the Ministry of Defense. And BML is a multi-technology schedule company under the Ministry of Defense. So guys, this is very important to become the self-reliant in the defense sector, and most of the companies are basically focusing on this you can say the self-reliant in the defense sector. Even our imports in the defense sector, especially related to arms, are decreased by 33%. This is very good news because we are talking about the imports. And government holds 0.3% stake in the 3% stake in the BEML, not 0.3%, 3% in the BEML. And BEML headquarters is in Bengaluru, Karnataka. Chairman and managing director is MV Rajesh Shekhar, but not important. Now moving to one liner important point. Here is the first point. First point is Barbora Strykova, former world #1 doubles player, retires from the tennis. So she was the world #1 doubles player and she retired from the tennis. So you have to remember three things. One is the name of the player. Name of the player is Barbora Strykova, and she belongs to which country? She belongs to Czech Republic, and she announced retirement from tennis, and she won 2 Women Tennis Association single titles and 31 double titles. And the famous double player was also won the bronze medal in 2016 Rio Olympics. So guys, remember, she was ranked World Tennis Association world #1 doubles ranking and world number 16 in the singles ranking. So you have to remember the name of the player, name of the country is Czech Republic, and she retired from the tennis. Report on SSE by SEBI, and you have to remember what is SSE. This is Social Stock Exchange by SEBI, and not allowed political religious firms for social stock exchanges. So SEBI has constituted you can say technical group on this social stock exchange in September 2020 under the chairmanship of Harsh Banawala, former chairman of NABARD. And this technical group made recommendation relating to permitting participation of the social enterprises under the social stock exchange, minimum reporting requirement, possible means and mechanisms of raising finance. So this you can say report recommended that not to allow the political and the religious organization, trade organization, corporate foundations, infrastructure and housing companies to raise funds under this social stock exchange. This is a recommendations of this you can say the technical group, which was chaired by the Harsh Banawala. Next is Bombay Stock Exchange and the Bradstreet India partners to promote MSME growth. So nothing important under this question because Bombay Stock Exchange tied up with so many companies, and one is you can say the Dun and the Bradstreet. This company is basically belongs to United States of America, and it is just to accelerate the small and medium enterprises growth to help the government of achieving the GDP contribution target of 50% of GDP by the financial year of 2025. So this partnership will help as you can say the small and medium enterprises in India to increase their visibility, expand access to global market, find potential customers, manage risk, uncover new supplies, and the channel partners identify growth opportunities. And this will be provided by Bombay Stock Exchange and you can say the Dun and the Bradstreet India company. And this is its headquarters in India is in Maharashtra. And guys, remember about Bombay Stock Exchange. This is important thing under this question. It was established in 1875, and remember its equity index is S&P Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex, and managing director and CEO is Ashish Kumar Chauhan. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, headquarters is in Mumbai. Next, Priyadarshini Mahila Nagari Sehkari Bank was imposed rupees 1 lakh penalty by the RBI. So you have to just remember that this bank belongs to which state? This bank belongs to Maharashtra, and they this RBI imposed 1 lakh rupees on this bank for violation of certain directions under the supervisory action framework. Next, NBA created Social Justice Award named after the basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And remember guys, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is basically American basketball player, and this National Basketball Association announced an award named after this American basketball player named as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And this award will be called as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion Award. It is to recognize players who are making strides in the fight for the social justice. And each National Basketball Association are set up to nominate one player for the award, and from there 5 finalists will be selected, and finally one winner will be rewarded as the Social Justice Award bearing Abdul-Jabbar's name. And the winner will receive almost $1 lakh for the charity of his choice, and the other 4 finalists will receive $25,000 also for the charity. So guys, you have to remember it is National Boxing Association. Next is ULA launches a SBIRS or SBIRS Geo 5 missile warning satellite for US Space Force. So it is for the United States of America Space Force. And this name of this you can say the mission is SBIRS. You can remember the abbreviation also. SBIRS stands for Space Based Infrared System Geosynchronous Earth Orbit Flight 5, but it is not so much important. It is launched by United Launch Alliance or ULA, and it is launched into the orbit for the United States Space Force, and the satellite was launched aboard the Atlas V rocket from the Cape Space Force Station, Florida, United States of America. So it is the you can say United Launch Alliance first launch of 2021. And guys, remember ULA is an American spacecraft launch service provider. It is a joint venture between the Lockheed Martin Space and Boeing Defense, and the Space and Security was formed in December 2006. And USSF is the space service branch of the US Armed Forces. It is the world's first and currently only independent space force, just is known as USSF, United States Space Force. So remember this. So nothing important under this news. You have to just remember the name SBIRS. Now we can move to the question of the day. What was the question of 20th of May 2021? When was self-help group introduced in India? First of all, you have to remember what is this self-help group. This self-help group is basically a financial intermediary committee usually composed of 10 to 25 local women between the ages of 18 to 40. And the most self-help groups all over world are situated in India, or you can say the other countries like South Asia and the Southeast Asia because they are poor. And or every you can say the self-help group is generally a group of people who work on the daily wages, who form a loose grouping or the union. Money is collected from those who are able to donate and given to the members in need. And and members may also make a small regular saving contributions over a few months until there is enough money in the group to being lending, and funds may then be lent back to the members or to the others village or any purpose. In India, many self-help groups are linked with the banks for the delivery of the microcredit, but this concept was basically launched by Muhammad Yunus, the Bangladeshi pioneer. So you have to just remember the name of this person. And in India, it was started in 1992. So answer of this question is very simple. It was started in 1992. There was one project which was launched by NABARD. That project is known as Self-Help Bank Linkage Project. Remember, Self-Help Group Bank Linkage Project, which was launched by NABARD in 1992. This is the basically, you can say, the origination of the self-help group which was introduced in India. Otherwise, it was launched in the 1970s according to the Self-Employed Women Association, but it was not recognized by anybody. So it was recognized by the NABARD and the RBI in 1992 as the world largest microfinance project, which is known as Self-Help Group Bank Linkage Project. So remember this. Now we are moving to the question of the day. Question of the day is very simple and very important. When was Unified Payment Interface Service launched? So again, this is very important question. So guys, answer me only in the comment box, because today we are maximally using the UPI system, but we have to know about when it was launched. So guys, answer only me in the comment box. I am waiting your answer. Please provide 700 plus likes. Please subscribe this channel and share this video as maximum as possible on your WhatsApp groups, on your Telegram groups, and please press this bell button so that you can receive the notification and you can join our Telegram group. You can also receive the notification on that group, and it is Affairs Club promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. If you are reading the current affairs daily and if you are watching the current affairs daily, then your current affairs section will definitely go strong, and you can subscribe our current affairs from our application download. Link is given in the description box. You can download very easily and you can subscribe for 1 year as well as 2 year. Price is very much low, and on that minimal price we are providing 10% extra discount. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and don't take life so much serious. Always be happy and take care. Bye bye.